Hello, I'm Cindy Bartosek. I had the honor and the privilege of being the curator for Contemporary Fiber in Florida 2020. I'd like to thank Florida CraftArt and the staff for all their help and support in putting this exhibition together, from sending out the call to artists to really getting all of the art on the wall. I'm particularly pleased to be part of this because I work in fiber myself. I do tapestry weaving and botanical printing. So it's very exciting to me and inspiring to see what other artists are doing with textiles. And living over in West Palm Beach on the other side of the state, it's fun to be over here in St. Petersburg to see a whole new group of artists and just the amazing work that's being done over here. This is a statewide exhibition. We have artists showing work from Tallahassee to Sunrise and all points in between. We have artists of different backgrounds. Some of them are fairly new. This may be a adventure they started on once they retired. We have others who were art teachers for many years at all grade levels, including at the university level. We have artists for whom this is one of their very first opportunities to show their work, as well as a couple of artists whose work has been featured on the covers of national art magazines. So it's really a very diverse group of artists, which I find very exciting. The work, what we were trying to accomplish with the work is to really show the diversity of what's happening in the fiber world today. It's been really interesting to see the revival over the last 5 or so years, where fiber was really a hot thing in the 1960s, where women came into their own, taking what had been considered domestic craft and taking it off the beds and the tables and putting it on the walls. And things died out for a little while in the 70s, but the last few years it's been so exciting. Galleries are eager to show fiber work. Most of the major museums across the country and the world are mounting fiber exhibitions, in many cases featuring the very artists who started this movement in the 60s. So it's really exciting to see the evolution of the art form and the recognition that sort of the founding mothers are getting. We're also seeing that fiber isn't being restricted to just those who consider themselves textile or fiber artists. Artists in all mediums are taking the tools and materials of fiber, yarn, fabric, and the techniques, the stitching, the knitting, crocheting, and turning them into pieces that really make a social statement, that promote environmental interests and concerns, that tell their own personal stories, sometimes very touching stories. And so we have all of that reflected here. We have pieces that reflect the artist's cultural background and interest. We have explorations and study and study of texture and movement. It's really fun to see some of the kinetic pieces that we have. I think one of two of the most interesting pieces we have, this is by Amy Gross from Delray Beach, and it's called Silver Bees Adapting. And it's a wonderful installation that you really have to look at very closely to just see all the amazing detail. And when you first look, you really wonder, how is this a fiber art piece? But then you see it's embroidery. And it's just astonishing and makes a huge statement about the concerns we have regarding the vanishing bee population, which is really devastating for we humans who depend on food that's pollinated. The other fascinating piece to me is by Cassia Kite, and she does small embroideries and then assigns the colors to musical notes, and these are turned into compositions. So we're very excited to have display Cassia's work and also have her do a performance for us as part of our opening weekend. One of the really striking pieces we have in the exhibition is called Mangroves. It's a tapestry by Liliana Crespi. And tapestry is really one of my favorite types of art to do. The amount of work that Liliana put into her piece is incredible. And she does this on a frame loom. So it is all done very much by hand. Emily Staley, a local basket maker, has put together a couple of pieces from all recycled materials, which is really very exciting. When you see her lovely beaded pieces, you don't realize it's what most of us would consider trash. We have some very moving pieces. The quilt by Jim Smith and Andy Brunhammer really is a reflection of their reality as longtime HIV survivors. Bobby Bao makes these absolutely stunning quilted pieces that have really intriguing stories behind them. They're pieces that not only are really beautiful, but you really want to spend some time wandering through it visually, looking at what are the messages there and really thinking about the stories that she's telling. Another fascinating piece we have back in the corner is called Dan Mask. It's a art quilt made by Esther Rubin from Port St. Lucie. Esther was an art school teacher for 35 years, and shortly before she retired, she became legally blind. And as a printmaker, she was really devastated to essentially lose her voice as an artist. And one of her neighbors introduced her to quilting. When she moved to Florida, she became part of the Art Quilt group and is now able to use her etchings as prototypes for these beautiful quilted pieces. Anika Jones' stunning piece, Dartboard Target, she's really focusing on social justice issues related to children and in some of her other work, women who are targets of domestic violence, trafficking. They're shocking, but they also are excellent conversation starters. Art isn't just about things that are beautiful. Some of the emotions that get turned up can be very tough. And we need that. We need pieces that start us down towards the path of making changes, positive changes in social justice and in environmental conditions. So I'm really excited that we have a variety of pieces. Some are very calming to look at. Some are very practical. Stephen Sidlinger's just stunning little handmade books of the 7 deadly sins are just absolutely incredible. And it's such a variety. As curator, one of my challenges was to look through the more than 170 pieces we had submitted and select a variety of pieces that showed not only the conceptual thinking and the technical skills of the artists, but also looked at the innovation. What are they showing about where fiber art is at this point? But they also had to play well together. there had to be a visual coherence in choosing pieces that, once they were on the wall, on the pedestals, really looked like, even though they were made by different artists, most of whom have never met, they all look like they belong together. And I think we were very successful with that. So again, I really thank Florida CraftArt for this opportunity and for all their help in making this happen, and to all of the artists who submitted work for consideration, because without all this incredible talent from the state of Florida, we would not be here today. So thank you very much.